Greetings, beautiful people. All right, well, I mean, I've been doing a little bit of research and stuff like that, and one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people, I mean, a new thing, there's always going to be a new thing. There's always a new fad and stuff like that. You know, there's a Breatharian thing, there's a bunch of stuff. But, for example, I'm seeing a lot of things where people are trying to, you know, communicate with spirits. Because, I mean, if you really look at the word spirituality, right? Spirituality, you see the word spirit in it. So, in order for you to be spiritual, you need to talk to spirits. Is that what it is? See, I see a big problem with this because it's like a big misconception. First of all, when people look at spirits, they'll look at spirits as like angels, demons, good, bad. They're still looking at it and polarizing things when it really isn't like that. It's just basically comes down to, I'm gonna just put this up for the glare. When it comes down to you're talking to extensions of yourself. But here's the thing that I'm really having a big problem with. There's a lot of people that want to communicate with spirits and stuff like that, but you can't even communicate with people properly. And this is the big problem. I mean, if you can't talk to people in your space, in your life, in your world, okay? Because this is what it's about. It's about connecting with spirits. And if you really look at it on a physical level, we are all spirits, either inhabiting a vessel or the vessel inhabiting us, because I've mentioned this in my previous videos, where NASA has found studies now that you know, the water was on the earth before the land. So one would think that, you know, the land was there and then it was the water or whatnot. But you know, when you fill a fish bowl or a fish tank, all right, you put in the decorations first, then you fill the water in, right? I mean, you don't fill the water in and then put the decorations in there. I mean, if I'm mistaken, I don't know, but I mean, I've had fish in my life and I've always, you know, put the decorations in first and then filled the tank up with water. So here is how I look at this, okay? We're all spirits, okay? We're just unaware of ourselves. We're identifying with the ego, the vessel. And here's the thing, when we talk to each other, all right, if we really understood this, there would be really no, we would be actually connecting on an energetic level. And if we walk around life like this, we would actually start to tap in and start to literally connect more with people, heart to heart level. You know what I mean? Everything's the heart. When you're in your heart space, you literally, you know, things open up to you. And that's because people start revealing themselves to you. Things start showing themselves to you. And that's really your world opening up. Because if you look at the word earth, earth is an anagram for heart, earth, okay? And when you're, you know, connected heart to heart with people, you know, in this earthly realm, things are going to start revealing themselves to you. Now, people say, oh, but, you know, you walk around, you know, don't take life so serious and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. It's not, you see, things just become, you become these things, okay? Because if you really look at it, it's not like you walk around like, oh, yeah, you know, everything's, no, it's not like that. You can enjoy your life. You do what you got to do. But the whole thing here is that, you know, kids, for example, they're not born here with manners. We teach them manners because it's a proper way to, you know, get along and manage yourself here in this realm, right? After a while, you don't think about being polite or, you know, having manners. It's just a natural way to be, you know what I mean? Because you're trying to get along with your fellow man, whatever it may be, or, you know, and that's just to play along in the game. I mean, that could be a deep topic in itself, but that's just to be able to play in the game and be able to interact with people, because interacting with people requires having a relationship. All right. So when you have a proper relationship with people, you can start to, you know, build your network. And in reality, you know, you can meet one person. That one person can open the doors to many different things for you. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, that it's actually a blessing when you're, because there's people who are like, I'm not a people person. But in reality, it should be a blessing in the fact that you can actually look at other people and interact with other people and connect with those people and have an interaction with those people, because we're all interacting, and everybody is just an extension of yourself. And the funny thing is that I even put this up on my Instagram, but you know, you look at the word yourself really is like the people outside of you. And the reason why is, if we want to talk about, let's say, self, I would say that is everything is self. Right? So if everything is self, that means that everything outside of you is still you. That means that, like, for example, you'll talk about something that's your property. You'll be like, that's your car, right? But it's not like to say that, you know, the people outside of you are your possession. It's more or less like they are an extension of you. Because we'll still get that mixed up, saying, oh, but yourself, you're saying that that's your property. Like, that person is not your property. No, it's yourself, in the fact that you're talking about it yourself. Like, it's your self, a reflection. Now, when you talk about that's your car, it's not to say that you are the car, but even the car is still an extension of you. I mean, everything in reality really is spiritual. I mean, you don't notice how possessions and things, like, for example, like items, objects, they could be cursed. Right? What does that mean? That means that there's a negative or a bad, if we want to call it bad, but let's say an unfavorable energy signature attached to that vehicle. Let's say, for example, you know how they'll say, oh man, I got into that car's cursed. I got into so many accidents with that car, or that house is haunted. But those aren't like, organic or people. They're just physical objects, but they can still hold an energy to them, and that energy could be bad or good. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you sage your home. Why do you sage your home? To get rid of unfavorable energies that are not in your space. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing it with intent, it don't matter how much you sage, okay? Because sage could be taking out energies that are favorable to you to begin with. You don't know what sage, why, the purpose. You have to have the intention behind what you're saging for. You know what I mean? And, you know, I watch these videos with like people with 1.5, million followers and whatnot. And I love that, because, you know, they're promoting, you know, a healthy lifestyle, clean eating. But there's always a little bit of a misconception, because at the end of the day, you know, I go through this person's video, scrolling through, and it really doesn't talk anything about like cleaning your body first, because it doesn't matter. You could eat all the clean food you want. At the end of the day, food and drug, it's Food and Drug Administration. They're both put together for that reason. So at the end of the day, all food is actually a drug, because you can get addicted to drugs. People get addicted to foods. Food's addiction too. People are addicted to food, and that's why people walk around overweight and whatnot. And that could go into a deeper concept, because I've talked about it in my other videos. It has a lot to do with what's inside of you also. This is why it's important to, you know, fast and, you know, clear your space, and you're closer to your godly mode for that reason, because you don't have all this interference, all these viruses, all this interruption inside your system. You know what I mean? Like, you're slowed down for that reason. For example, if you have a phone or a computer and you got all these apps running, you got all these things running, what happens? The computer slows down. It's the same thing with the body. Your mind slows down. Everything starts to shut down and slow down or go dormant because it's lack of use and whatnot. And this is what's creating the problem. You know, everything is mindset, but at the end of the day, there's always a chemistry to everything. Okay, there's always a chemistry to everything. Don't forget. Yeah, okay, everything is self. There's still an exterior. Yeah, there's the God. There's a creator, okay? And one thing about this is like, I always look at it like this. I look at superheroes, all right? I look at Iron Man. I look at the Hulk. I look at Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Or like, let's say characters that were created by Stan Lee. Okay, they were all created by Stan Lee. So technically, these superheroes, their God would be Stan Lee, right? So let's say, for example, they're there and they're trying to look for God in their realm of reality. First of all, Stan Lee in Marvel Universe, in the actual world that they're in, Stan Lee don't even exist in that world. You know what I mean? But he created them. He created the universe for them, and but what happens if one of those heroes start to try to look for Stan Lee? They're going to be literally going nowhere. They're not going to find anything, right? Unless they like, you know, they go on a fucking like a mind trip, a psychedelic trip where, you know what I mean? Like they'll get their representation of what their creator might look like. Okay. But in reality, you know what I mean? They're not, that creator is not there in that physical realm. But, you know, let's say, for example, those heroes, because notice how all of those, the superheroes, not the villains, but most of them end in man, like Iron Man, Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, right? But then if you look at all the villains from like Batman, you got like the Riddler, the Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, Scarecrow, You know, and I could go into like what each one of those might represent, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's really no man at the end of them, you know what I mean? So the superheroes are the representative of what a man would be, you know what I mean? But in a more, you know, altered, like let's say super ability that they can actually do. But for example, like there's people who want to claim they're straw men. Okay, but if you're going to claim your straw man, you're doing it for the purpose of acquiring something. What are you acquiring? Are you trying to acquire the possession of what you are? Or are you doing it because you know that there's going to be an incentive behind it? Because at the end of the day, you can claim your straw man if you really did your research and whatnot, but there's so much that's going to go into that, that's going to create so much confusion and headache for you that you're not even going to probably accomplish doing so. But if you did, what do you understand what the essence of what you really are really is? You know? Because let's say, for example, if I'm gonna claim my car, for example, I know I am not the car, but I know I am a person. But do I know who I really am even on a deeper level than that? You know, but, you know, I think that's even a stupid example. But, you know, if you really want to look at it, I mean, do you know what you are? Do you know what everything outside of you really is? Do you know how energy, I mean, Nikola Tesla said, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. You emit energy. You emit a frequency. Okay. So if you look at the word emit backwards is time. Okay, this is why when we look at all these like negative entities that we want to call bad and stuff like that, like Chronos or Father Time or whatnot, you're Father Time. Aren't you over here in this realm literally saying, I don't have time for that, or I'm going to give this 5 minutes and then I'm going to go over there, or no, I don't have time for you. All right, I'm going to create time for this. I'm going to make some time for you. I'm going to make, you're always talking about making or taking, or you don't have time or this and that. But in reality, if you are a master of how to control your time, then you're already on the right track to managing yourself here in this realm in the right way. At the end of the day, you are what you want to consider, let's say, the abundance here in this realm, which is money. You are money, you know, but you have to understand that you have to align yourself with the fact that you are that energy signature and understand even the laws of how that works. You know what I mean? Because if you want to have access to it, because it's, again, are you a millionaire if you have $1 million, or do you just have access to $1 million? Because what is money? Money is the paper. But is that really the abundance? That is the representation of what money is. Money is the idea. And what do? They put it on a printed paper with holograms, the president on it, with a bunch of these you know, symbols that actually have a deeper meaning to it, but they'll put all that to it. And this is what the representation of money is. What are you? You are a representation of what? You know, what are you here for? You know, we talk about we're here to serve each other, and this is what it really is. If you look at money, okay, they say money is a good server, but a horrible master. Okay, so that means that money should be serving you, and you should be serving people in return. Okay, because if you really want to, if you look at money, for example, money is very, you know, it's an energy that has a certain law to it, a certain rule to it. We want to connect with money, but we want to connect with people. We want to connect with spirit. Everything has a method of doing things because they go by a vibration. See, there's people, for example, who want to, you know, open up their third eye. They'll start to be like, no, I want to know truth. I want to open up my third eye, but they're not really balanced in their lower chakras. If you even look at it by colors, okay, you have red, which is your root chakra, and then you have orange. But just climbing up that ladder, orange is a combination of the yellow and red. Right? So you already have your solar plexus, which is yellow, and then yellow is giving you, okay, with the red, now it's your sacral plexus chakra, which is the second chakra. And now you go into the yellow, okay? And then if you want to combine colors there, it goes the same way. Now, the heart is the gateway to the upper realms. Now, you can be in the upper realms, but in an imbalanced state. Because if you're up here in an imbalanced state, don't think you're enlightened. You're going to be in your, let's say you start to gain knowledge. You start to use this knowledge and start to want to use it against people, or start to attack people or look down on people because they're not in the state that you're in. You know what I mean? And if you, I've gone through experiences in my life, even before this whole thing that I'm talking about, where I was like assisting people in my outside world. And this happens in business. Okay. Because look, even in business, you have to interact with people. You have to connect with people. All right. You have to connect with people in a certain way where they're motivated to be there and work with you. Okay. And this happens in every kind of way. This is why, when you say get along, I'm getting along with people. I get along with people. Getting along in Spanish means se llevan bien. Se llevan means they take each other well. They take each other well, and it doesn't make sense in English, but they se llevan, they take each other well. That means they're feeding off each other, but there's got to be a balance also. See, if you connect with somebody on a heart-to-heart energetic level and start to use your mind as to, when you're talking to them, and you're making eye contact, you're connecting to their soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul, right? So the heart, for example, and the heart needs to be balanced as well. Because the heart, for example, everybody wants to look at the heart and say it's love, it's a frequency. And if you really want to look at what the heart determines everything about what you do out here. In fact, when you're scared, okay, doesn't your heart beat faster? Boom, 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 boom. But then when you're more in a calm state, it beats slower. It's in a more rhythmic and harmonious way. But when it's beating fast, don't you notice when people go to war and whatnot, the drums is a war sound, the doom doom doom, and when you start to hear that's kind of like a war sound. So your heart can actually try to be at war, or it could be at peace and at love, but it all comes down to utilizing the consciousness, okay, to try to get you to a state where you can program your subconscious. Because you see, everybody wants to talk about the subconscious, but when you learn to drive a car, you're in your conscious state. And then when you learned how to drive the car and you're comfortable driving it, that skill gets passed on, or that knowledge gets passed on to the subconscious, where it's now playing a automatic programming now. Okay, so the point of being conscious is to do things to program your subconscious into what it is that you want to serve you. And don't forget, you need to be full yourself so you can give more to others. You need to be uplifted yourself and motivated yourself so that you can motivate others. Because once that happens, you don't really have to work so hard at trying to motivate and touch other people. Because you see, this is one of the beautiful things about language. See, a lot of people will demonize language, and I demonized language before, but there's still a very beautiful thing about language. See, with language, we're able to interact with people. And we're able to see, notice how even in business, when, he's a smooth talker, you know what I mean? And he can make a lot of money just because he knows how to talk. Or let's say, for example, a guy gets a girl because he's a sweet talker. So he's actually, you can seduce somebody just with your words, because you're connected. That's your throat chakra. Your throat chakra is balanced, but it's connected with the heart. But if it's imbalanced, you know what I mean? Again, that's a deep topic, because it goes with the mind and all that. And you're trying to get something out of, whatever you're trying to manipulate. Let's say you're trying to get a girl. You're trying to get in her pants, so you know how to talk. You're a sweet talker. Okay. But I'll make a separate video on that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I mean, if you want to become the best version of yourself, it really comes down to, just literally trying to connect with people on an energetic level. But a lot of that is going to require you knowing yourself and just being balanced. Meditate. Look in the movie Avengers. You notice how Thanos, when he gave Gamora that little blade with the red stone in it, when he first gave it to her, he put it in his hands like this, and it was like balancing. But there's like a lot of symbolism there. If you look at the red needs to be balanced, okay? And that's what he first gave her as she was growing up. So this is what we need to do, is start balancing each other from the root up, okay? And the funny thing is, I also tried to realize, for example, you have all these demons and angels and whatnot. You got the angels. There's an angel in front of you, an angel behind you, an angel on your left, and an angel on your right. And then you got all these demons that people want to talk about, that they're bad, and they're, a lot of the things that we see, for example, in like our pineal gland, there's 72 goetic demons in there. Okay, but why is it that those demons, their energy signature resides on the upper chakras, okay, and not in the root chakra? Okay, because it's down, up, is up down and down is up? Or is it that, because a lot of people think that, oh, only up, ascending and going up is good, and then that down is bad, but it's really not. Okay, it's just, everything just is. It's got to be a balance. That's what it is. It just has to, everything is and works for you according to how you make it work for you. Excuse me. So I mean, that's about it. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll chat soon.